Hi all, in this video let's learn about how to Dockerize a React.js application. For that, we need to understand first thing is like what is Docker. So Docker is like a packaging a software and where it can be run in any of the platform. Earlier days what happened is like we used to have servers where we are going to install our applications, that is front end applications, back end application. It's all its dependencies, everything we need to make a note of them and we need to install in those servers. If you need another server, again the same setup like installing all the dependencies, all the softwares, everything you need to do on the other server as well. This is what we used to do in the earlier days. This is like installing the softwares in the servers like manually or an automated way, but this is how we are going to do in the earlier days. But with the Dockerization, what we do is we'll create an image, okay, where this image can be run in any of the platform, any of the environment. So that is the usage of this Docker. Okay, now let's understand the how to create and Dockerize the React application. For that, the first thing is you need to download the Docker. So if it is Linux or Windows, Mac, whatever the OS, based upon your OS, you download the Docker. Okay, download the Docker desktop. So this is a website for that. So once it is downloaded, let's verify whether it is there or not. So for that, just check Docker-v. So if it gives a version, it means this download the Docker desktop and install this Docker desktop. So next thing, verify whether it is downloaded successfully or not. So the next part is you need to create the Docker file. So let me create a Docker file. So this is a normal React application. It was created based on a create React app CLI. So whatever the other application, if it is your existing application also, you can do the same thing. Okay. Here I'm at the root level. I'm creating a file called Docker file. The name should be the same. The name of this file should be the same. So this is a Docker file where you write all the instructions. Set of instructions you will be, it's like a blueprint to create an image. Okay, what is this image? So image means it's like .exe file. So for any of the software, you will be having .exe file, right? If you double click that, what happens? The software will run. So in the similar way, we'll write one Docker file, and with the help of this Docker file, we'll build an image, and that image is like ready to use, and we'll run that image in any of the container. So what is this container? It's like a instance of the image. So let's learn about them step by step. First thing is like we need to understand this Docker file. So Docker file was created. We'll be having some commands in the Docker file. So those will be like a limited ones. So you can have a Docker cheat sheet commands, okay, where you can understand how many commands are there, what all those commands, what command does what. So you'll be having a list, okay. That is a limited number only. If you have only few commands, understand you can easily build the images, okay. In this Docker file, the name should be the Docker file itself. From, so this is the first command you need to have, from node. So what I'm doing, from node latest. Here what I'm doing is, give me a second, n- from latest. So what I'm doing is I want the base image as a node. Okay, this is what I want. So it means I want to load my React application on the base image, base environment as a node. Okay, that's the reason this is like a base image. Okay, that's the first step you need to have. The from defines the base image. What's the base environment you want to Dockerize your application? That is what the from. So next is like working directory. I'm trying to create one separate directory here. I'm naming that as \app. And later on, let's copy the content which is present in the package.json file. Okay, I'm copying this package.json file. So whatever we have in our local directory, that is what we are copying. This is a source, okay, and dot backslash is the destination. I'm copying this to here. Okay, now next what we will do is we'll run. Okay, run is also one of the command. We'll run npm install. So with this, what we are doing, we'll be installing all the packages. I mean, all the dependency libraries which is available here. First step is like the base image. Second step is we have created one folder. Inside this folder, so we'll copy our all entire things. So before that, we'll copy our package.json file to the this environment and we'll do run install. So now dependencies and node modules would be installed. Later on, what we do is we do a copy dot dot. It means the source is this one. It means I'm asking to copy all these files into this folder. So here under this app, okay, we'll copy all the existing files into this. This is what we did. And later, let we'll be having cmd. So this is for the command. Here you will run npm start. So this is what the application, like this is the command to run the application npm start. Okay. So this is the command cmd. So all these are the docker commands. Okay, if you once understand one after the other, so copy means it will copy, run means it will run this command. So we are copying the package.json file and we are installing the dependencies, and we are copying in this step, we are copying all the local files into this file, into this low image. Okay, and we are running npm install. So this is a simple setup. It means these are the steps. This is like a blueprint to Dockerize our React application. So now next thing is like we need to create one more file called, let me create dot docker ignore. So this is the also an important file. If here you see dot git ignore, so while you are pushing your code to the git, you are mentioning that some of the dependencies you don't, some of the folders you don't want to push them to the GitHub. So in a similar way, while an image is creating, you don't want few of the folders, because you're here what you did, you're copying all the folder, all the files to the image, right? So during that time, you want to ignore few things to the image. So what are those? So I will mention them. I don't want to include node modules into the image because node modules will be installed dynamically. Like that is what we wrote this command. So I don't want these node modules to be pushed into the image, and the Docker file, I don't want to push the Docker file, and .git file. So all these files I don't want to push into the image. So that's the reason I'm mentioning them in the Docker ignore. Okay. So now all the unnecessary files, whatever you want, those files you can keep here. This would be ignored while we are building the image. So now these two are important. So the next part is like, next I will take this terminal. We are going to build the image. Okay, now we have set of instructions to build the image. That is this one. So now we are ready to build the image. For that, docker build hyphen t. Hyphen t means we are tagging. This is tag name. Okay, now I can name the Docker like a image name. So Docker hyphen one, or let I have this Docker one, Docker React. Let me name this as a Docker React colon latest. So here this is the name of the application. Whatever you want, you can keep here, Docker React or whatever the name you want to create. So here you can mention the version. So instead of latest, if you want, you can keep like 1.0, 2.0, like versions you can keep. But now here I'm keeping this as a latest. Okay. Hyphen T is for the tag. Now I'm building this image. So what happens is, oh sorry, we need to mention the space dot. Why we are mentioning this space dot means we need to mention where is this Docker file. The path of this Docker file we are going to mention. If you mention this as a dot, it means this is a context for the build process. So that's the reason it will pick this dot. It means in short, it is a path to this Docker file. So now let me click enter. So now it will take some time to do all these steps. It will install all these steps. So during this part, it takes some time. It will be installing. So it looks something like this. It is building our image. Okay, fine. So once the image was built, so let me continue. So meanwhile, I want to share you few things. Okay, let me take this file. Okay, I will explain in a new file. So now you have an image. Okay, and later on you will run that image and you'll be getting that in the container. Okay, fine. So once you have an image and once you are running that image, fine, you can push your image. You can push your image to Docker Hub. So there is a concept called Docker Hub, which is similar like GitHub. What we do in the GitHub, we push the code, right? In the GitHub, we push the code. In the Docker Hub, what we do is we push the image. We are going to push our image so that others, whoever they want to use our image, they can use our image. Okay, so that's the reason what we'll do next is we'll create an account in the Docker Hub. So let me show you that. So here I'm going. So this is the second tab. So here what you need to do, you need to go to the Docker Hub. Okay, and you need to create, you need to sign up. Okay, and then it looks something like this. Okay, this is a Docker Hub, which is similar to the GitHub, where in the GitHub you'll be storing the code. But in the Docker Hub, what you do, you will store the images. Okay, if you go to the Explore in the Docker Hub, you'll be having the ready-made images like this. If you want to install any of these things, so here Docker official image. So if you click this, so Ubuntu, this is Ubuntu Docker pull. If you do Docker pull and Ubuntu, so you will be having this image Ubuntu mission. So Ubuntu will be available to you. So like this, you can explore many official images as well. So ready. So there are see node. So this is what we have done. Okay, we have used the base image of node. Okay, so that's what we have done. So like this, you can go to this explore tab and you can install, you can pull whatever the image you want and you can run it directly. So that is what here. So once we build our code, if you push that, it will come to here into this repositories. So I will show how to push that. So before that, you need to have a Docker Hub account. Okay, you need to create a Docker Hub account and you need to remember your username and password, because we are going to log into this Docker Hub while we are pushing the Docker image. So now let's go back here. So while you are building this image, so it takes more time. It takes more time, and all the resources will not work as expected. So let me give some time here. So meanwhile, I will. I'm trying to open. Yeah. So see, it is taking some more time. So meanwhile, I will write the commands. So what is the exact commands you need to use? So you understood this? Okay. Next is like we need to run this in the container. And so let's give some more time. So it's like it is building 5 out of 10. Okay, okay, so still few more minutes we need to wait. So fine, so let's do one thing. So I have already built an image. Okay, so let's use that image instead of again building this image once again. So I'm stopping this. I will stop building this at this point. Okay, I'm stopping this image. Okay, already I have built one image. So let's use that image itself. Okay, fine. So I have stopped this image. So to check whether we have images or not, we have a command called Docker images. So if you click this Docker images command, so it will show what all the images we have in our application, in our system. So Docker images. Okay. So now we have see Docker one and something Docker one images. So these two images we have in our application, so in our mission. So now we have these images. If you want to run the container, so how you can run Docker? So you have an image ready. Now it means you have created one .exe file. You need to run this. So container means you have an image. Okay. If you double click that, like it container means it's an instance of image. It means you have an image ready. Okay. You need to run that image, right, in order to see the output. So that's what we are doing. We are running this image. We are making sure that Docker run name. So now you need to name the container name. So here you need to name the container name. So let me name this as a Docker container. So let me name this as a Docker container. Okay. And hyphen D. So why this hyphen D is we are using this container in a detached mode. So even we go to another tab or terminal also, this container should be keep running. So that's the reason hyphen D we are using. Means we are running this container in a detached mode. And hyphen P. Why is this P? In order to publish the port numbers. So now let me give this 3000 colon 3000. This first 3000 port number is host port number. So it means in which port, like localhost 3000, where you want to see your output. That is this localhost 3000. And coming to this 3000 is container port name. So what is the port you want to run in the container? That is the that is one. And now you need to mention the Docker name. Means name of your application, like name. This is what the image name you will be mentioning. And I'm mentioning this as the latest. So once you run this, okay, it will be running. So I think this Docker container is already in use. It means already our container is running. So this is the command we are going to use. And this command, like let me give one more container name, like let me say this as 2. So because we have one more container, so fine. So already we'll be having the Docker container. It is up and running. So this is what it is running. Okay. And now this is what created. So this is a Docker desktop. Once you download and install it, you need to open this Docker desktop. So then only this Docker build, Docker container commands, all these commands would be executed. And we are this Docker container, it is running. So this is the image and it is running. So as it is running and we are running in the same port number, we are getting that error. Okay. So let's do one thing, like it is already running, right? So let's see the output. So if you go to the tab and if I open localhost 3000, yes, this application is running. The reason why it is running is already our container is running. This is not a normal application. We are not running npm start. We are running our image in a container. So this container is responsible to running this application. So this is the reason it is running. Fine. Now we have already created an image, an account in the Docker Hub. Now you know we have image and we could able to run that with the following command. So this is the command we need to use, okay, to run the image in the container. So once you use this command, so now the next part is like you need to push your image to the Docker Hub. So now you learned how to create the Docker file set of instructions. You know how to build the image, how to run the container. The next part is like you need to push your image to the GitHub. So for that, you need to do Docker login. First thing you need to log into your, you need to run this command Docker login. Then it will ask for your username and password, where you need to give the username and password of this account. So just now you will be creating one account, like this is your username and password you need to mention. So once you mention, when you Docker login, if you mention those things, next thing is like you need to push your image. So before pushing, you need to do one more point. So before you are pushing, you need to tag that image. So see, as I have already logged in, it is saying that login is success. So usually it will be asking you the username and the password. So that's the reason I ask you to remember the username and the password while you are creating an repo in the Docker Hub. Okay, fine. Now, once you have logged in successfully in your terminal, the next part is you need to tag your image. So Docker, so you need to say this as a, okay, it is typing slowly. Give me a second. So now what we are going to do is we are tagging the image to push that to the GitHub. So for that, what we do is Docker tag. So you can tag whatever the name you want. Docker. So let me say this as a Docker one itself. Okay. This is a tag name. So whatever you want, you can keep that tag name. Okay. It means like an image. So this is an image name. Tag this image. Okay. You're tagging this image. How you're tagging? This is your repo backslash, and you can keep whatever you want. Okay. Now this is an image name. You are tagging this image as this. Okay. Now if I click this, it means the tag would be created. To this image, you are given a tag. It's like like an alias name. You can feel like an alias name. So now after tagging this, the next thing is like it was tagged. It means to this image, this was tagged. Okay, now you need to push this. So here you need to mention your repo name. Before your image name, you need to mention your repo name so that your image will go into this repo, your repo. Okay. For that, now I will be pushing the same, the Docker -1. So if I click enter, so what happens? We'll be going with the default tag and the latest. Yes, this would be going to the default tag and the latest. And now we are pushing this image to the Docker. So it will be pushed. It will be taking some time sometimes. So that's the reason I have already pushed it. So, but this is the command. So once you push that, if you go back to the Docker repositories, you can see here, if you refresh this, so this is what you'll be getting, the Docker -1. So this is what you have pushed, right? This would be pushed. Once you push it, your image would be available here. So if someone wants to use your image, if I click this, if someone wants to use your image, so they should be using this. So they can use the pull, Docker pull, not push, Docker pull. And if they say the name, then that person can use your image. So this is how you are going to create the Docker. See, already exists, so it was created. So it was pushed successfully. Okay, if you want to modify the tag, you can modify. So if it is a second version, you can give it as a second or the third version, and you can keep that. Okay, so this is how you need to do. So one more last point is like, whenever you are running the Docker images, so see, I have these two images, Docker images. Okay, these are taking this much size. So once you are done with your job, once the image was built, it was pushed, so it's good to make sure you are cleaning all the images. Okay, the command to remove the images is like docker rme docker -1. Okay, this is the image name. So latest, so this is the tag. So if I click this, so it means we are deleting the image. So make sure if you're not using the images, delete them because it occupies more space. If you're not don't want to run the containers, if you don't want to see the outputs or don't want to run the containers, stop the containers as well. So to stop the containers, so this is a command we need to use. So container ID, you need to mention the container ID here, and thereafter this is a container ID you need to use, and thereafter you need to say stop. So this is the command to stop the containers. So hope I have covered almost all the points. So this is the first one, like you need to create the Docker file. You need to keep the Docker ignore. Okay. And thereafter you need to build the image. Thereafter you need to run the image in the container. Thereafter you can directly see the output. So the main usage of this Docker Hub is in order to store your images, and in order to share your image to some other else. Okay. If you keep your image as a public, so everyone or whoever you want, they can directly pull this image and they can work. Okay, this is how this Docker concepts work. Okay, I hope you understand how to Dockerize a React application. Fine. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Thank you.